Okay, so I'm Dean Jenkins, founder of Codes Academy. I'm going to take you through a bit of story about where I've come from and how I've got to where I am now. So I hope you enjoy it. So the fears that we all go through, my school, my work, depression and no money. So I kind of want to share my story and hope to inspire you all to leave at the end of the day and give you all courage to do what you want to do with your futures. Okay. So I'm going to start off from when I was younger, where kind of my mental health issues kind of started. So in primary school, I struggled with dyslexia, which I didn't know what it was. Being in primary, I must have been about 8 years old, and the teacher kept telling me off for talking to my friends and disrupting the class. Even though I was quite arty, you know, I can draw and stuff and make things, everything was great. But the problem was I wasn't realizing what was going on. So I would go home with frustration. I would hit my head against walls, I'd punch walls, and I had to go and see a psychiatrist. And had to go down there each week, and then you give me a book of stickers, and you'd have to stick my sticker of a happy face on each day if I was good. All that rubbish. So it wasn't really helping me. It was just like, right, just be a good boy. I wasn't really being a naughty boy, I just didn't understand. So leaving primary, going into comp, first years were not too bad, very hands-on things we were doing, and then it turns very academical. So it turns very academical. The school are not helping me, so I become that kid, probably some of you were in class with, that would chuck Pritt sticks across the room, paper aeroplanes, and a teacher then would start shouting at me, and I couldn't help but laugh, so I'd laugh in their face. I just couldn't help it. And they're like, Dean, get out the room. So I'd go out the room, and then I would start chucking stuff outside then to wind them up even more. So I wouldn't like to say I failed school. School failed me. And that's the way it is. I didn't come out without any qualifications or anything. So anyway, 2 days after leaving school when I was 16, I was lucky enough to become a floor layer. My dad's friend just knocked the door one day and said, "You're coming to work with me." I said, "Well, what do you do?" He's like, "Just get your clothes on, jump in the van." So that's what I did. And went off, and I was there for about a year and a half, loved it. Putting flooring down, seeing it all done at the end of the day, leaving. I felt good with myself. I seen something happening. So that was pretty good, but the problem was halfway through that I started getting pains down my leg, this side, nerve pains. Being 16, thinking you're big and hard and picking up like loads of bits of wood, and started back problems basically. So in that time, I started having time off work, and my bosses called me a liar. You're only 16, grow up, get on with it. You know, you're meant to be a man, and things like that. So that was quite hard in that time, and even my parents and family had all called me a liar and just saying, you just want time off work, you just want to go out with your friends, and that really wasn't the case. So I got laid off from that job, and I become a greenkeeper. Loved that job. I loved the outdoors. I was looking after the golf course, cutting the grass, diggers, dumpers, cutting trees. But the only hard bit about it was raking bunkers. So if you've got 36 bunkers you've got to rake in the morning, especially in the winter time when they're frosty, it's hard work. And that caused more back problems with me. It was more pressure on my back, which made it hard. So I started having time off from there. And they laid me off, going back and forth the hospital, and this was in 4 years, so between I was 16 and 20. And then the hospital did MRI scans after doing years and years of x-rays and not seeing anything, and said, okay, we can see a problem. A disc has come out as swollen in your back, which is causing the nerve pain. So I'm like, okay, let's go for this. And they were like, we've never done it to someone so young before, so this is a risk, taking it. But I had to do something. So anyway, I had the operation, and a day later after the operation, I'm saying to my parents and that, there's something not right. And they're like, of course not, Dean, you're not going to be just like, yeah, it's just running around the ward, you know, everything's fine, you just had a back operation. I'm telling you, there's something not right. So they ignored me. 3 months went by, and I went out for something to eat. Everything was fine. Went up and got a drink from the bar, sat back down, had my drink, and as soon as I went to leave, I couldn't stand up. I was paralyzed from my waist down. I'm quite scared in that moment, you know, can't feel anything. My brother-in-law kind of gets a bit frightened, comes over, picks me up, and then my wife there, so they kind of had me over their shoulders, and I had like a little bit of movement walking out. So leaving there, obviously contacted the doctors straight away. They got in touch with the hospital. And it must have taken about 3 months to get back to the hospital and have MRI scans and stuff like that. It took quite a while. So the MRI scan, then had to wait a little bit longer, and then went and seen him. Went into the room, and he showed me the MRI, and he's like, all right, Dean, there's a blur on your MRI scan. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm gonna have to send you in for an X-ray. So I go in for my X-ray, and as soon as I walk in the room, he went, I'm very sorry, Dean, I've left a 6-centimetre needle in your back. So, how would you feel in that moment in time after being a hands-on person, dyslexic, and can't go into an office environment? Well, I thought I couldn't go into an office environment. My life come to an end for me. Things went gradually downhill. The job centre saying I wasn't ill enough to be on benefits, so I couldn't have my housing paid for. I didn't have money coming in. I went about 3 months without any money at all. Friends bringing food to my house. Me and my wife would go in 2 days without food sometimes. As long as my daughter had food, that's all we cared about. A very, very difficult time. And they give me tablets, they give me tramadol, which makes me even worse, makes me angry, makes me more depressed. So then I'm like in the evening, then I'm really depressed and I start cutting myself. I've got little marks up my arms. I'd started overdosing with tramadol, chucking 30 tramadol down my neck. And I'm not even saying anything to anyone. I'm just trying to do it in the house where most people want someone to say, it's okay, it's okay. I wouldn't say anything. I was there just keeping it to myself. And my wife didn't really, she knew I was sad, but she didn't really know what was going on. So it was a very, very difficult time. And then I had to have another operation then to have a screws and a cage put into my back in 2012. So this was 2 years, this gap was. So this happened and I decided I can't be this person no more. I can't stay in this place. I need to get out. I need to do stuff. So lucky enough, my nan had a little shop next to her. It was free. There used to be a deli and it become free. She's like, look, Dean, if you want to do something, because I like doing things. If you want to do something, you can go in there and you can do whatever you want. Great, what should we do? My mum said, here's £600. And then me and my wife decided, right, a sweet shop. All the kids are going to want sweets in the village. Let's start a sweet shop. So we started the sweet shop. First week, everything was great. So it was like on a big climb. I think, yes, I got this now. I'm out of this place. I was only getting £50 a week in the sweet shop, but it was better than £50 worth of dole because I was speaking to people and kind of getting out. And then the second week, just went boom. I was like, oh no, what do I do now? So there's like steady income paying for me and the wife to be there, but wasn't great. But like I said, being out meeting people was amazing. And then I was like, right, what else can we do? And I seen the sweet carts pop up for weddings and stuff. So I was looking on eBay and I was like, oh, I really want one of them so we could sell it, you know, rent it out and make money, £600. I was like, I can't afford that. What can I do? I was like drawing a piece of paper what I wanted, and I was like, right, I'm going to go on Leaks. I went down Leaks, bought the stuff, went back home in the living room, and then dust everywhere all on the living room carpet, cutting it out. Went down to IKEA then and got like light strips underneath, so it would change colours for people's weddings and stuff like that. And that went pretty well. So I was renting out £150 a time. So my first time I'd already made a profit of £50, which was great. But the problem was we have to pick it up at the wedding venue in the evening, like 12 o'clock, and most of my friends at that age want to go out drinking and to the pub and whatever else. So that kind of then was like, well, I've got no one to pick it up with me, so that's got to stop. What else can we do? Let's do an online sweet shop. So I created the online sweet shop with the drop and drag systems. I'm a very creative person, so I hated it. It was very static, couldn't do what I wanted. So I was like, right, how do I learn to code? How do I do those things? So I went online, I was learning, getting really frustrated on the sofa trying to learn it. And then I decided to go to Cardiff University and do a 12-week evening course, 3 hours a week for 12 weeks, which gave me the basic knowledge I needed. Went home, carried on learning, and I seen a job come up. And I said, I want that job. And surely enough, I went for the interview for that job. Very scary, not being in work for such a long time for someone else anyway. Getting a really dry mouth, and they're like, do you want a drink of water? Yes, please. Pass it across the table, pick it up. Shaking that much is all over the table. I'm like, oh no, I've ruined this now. And they're like, it's fine, Dean, carry on. So they were asking me about my pieces of work. And there was one I did for Candle Lodge Lake, nice wedding website. I use Adobe Muse to do that. I didn't actually code it, I used a drop and drag system, but I found that after all the palaver I went through, and it was very nice to kind of create what you wanted. So I built that and showed him it, and I showed him my other projects. And he said, well, how did you build that one? I said, well, actually, I use a drop and drag system for that one and the other ones I built. And he said, well, I'm glad you said that because I've looked at your code and I can see you didn't hand code it. So my honesty got me that job, basically. Half hour later, they rang me up and said, you've got the job. So I was there for about a year and a half, got lots of experience. They were a medicine school type of thing. So I was kind of in the teaching environment, which was quite nice, learned a lot of skills from there. Then it didn't work out with the manager. I'm a bit straight with people sometimes, and it got me into a bit of trouble. So they kind of pulled me in and gave me my piece of paper. It's like, there you go, you can go now. Okay. So I left there, and I decided to start Creative Pod Design, which was a design agency. And it didn't make me any different in the market, basically. I was there for 6 months, and I was like, why aren't I getting the work? There's a lot of design agencies, and you have to make yourself different. I couldn't make myself look different in that place. And I was sitting there in the office one day, me and Lewis, and I was like, why don't we teach people? And that morning we were like, okay, let's do it. And we just started building a logo. We built a website in the morning. We pushed it live, put a Facebook post out, and we had an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old first come on. And we taught them how to build a website in a week with HTML, CSS, a little bit of JavaScript and Bootstrap, and they created their own website. And I was like, wow, I've got them to do this. This is absolutely amazing. So let's carry on. So I started working towards it more and more, and now you can see I've worked with the Prince's Trust. That was me winning Entrepreneur of the Year in 2015. That's some of the children that have been on the course. We do a wide range of programs. I've worked with a job centre, autism puzzles, which I'm really passionate about. Oh God, the rest of them are gone in my mind. Quite a few different people we've worked with, and it's been hard. Especially with my dyslexia, everyone wants a proposal written. I'm just like, this is really difficult for me. Can't I just sit in front of you and just talk it to you, what I want to do? But everything needs written down. So then you start growing your team around you then to do those things. So last year then, things are still difficult in business, and I decided that I need to get past my fear. And what I decided to do was I just went on a retreat to Peru, into the jungle to do meditation for a week on my own. So I left my wife behind, I left my kids behind, and I was like, I'm going on my own. The most scariest journey I've ever made in my life, but I needed to do it to get past my fear to go to other places. If someone rang me up tomorrow and said, Dean, we need you to do something in New York. Yeah, no worries, I'll be on the plane next week. And I can do that now, but before I would have never have done it. And it was very difficult. 4 flights, 5 airports, and as soon as you're past Amsterdam, everyone speaks Spanish. So that was quite difficult. I was on the plane, they were speaking Spanish, and they were like, you need to fill these forms out. I was like, I don't have a clue what you're on about. And I get really, really anxious and turned up the airport, and then all these tuk-tuks outside, and all these people coming around me saying, get in my taxi, get in my taxi. I'm just like, just leave me alone. Anyway, went there, got into the jungle, absolutely amazing experience, met loads of new people, and it was nice because I was kind of traveling. And I've always wanted to travel, so I was having my own travel experience in 12 days. So I've come back from there, and that made quite a big impact. As you can see me in the jungle with the shamans. This was my room, which was pretty scary, because I was right out in the jungle, and we all separated. And you only had a little gas lamp in the night, and everything else was pitch black, and you have things chucked to your roof, and noises, and I'm there under my blanket like, oh no. And then, yeah, I'm a bit of a hippie outside my work hours. And then I was lucky enough then to come back, and in November last year, I was invited to meet Prince Charles on recognition of the work I did with the Prince's Trust. So that was quite a nice moment for me. Very emotional day, I've got to be honest. I didn't know if I wanted to laugh, if I wanted to cry. It was very much up and down. I'm quite an emotional person anyway. So that's kind of what we did, and that's me. So I hope you liked it. If there's any questions you want to ask me.